Welcome to today's episode. I am really excited to chat with you today and lay out and explain to you how I'm going to be able to help you eat all foods without guilt and without anxiety and actually have joy in your relationship again with food and with your body. What we're going to do today is I'm going to share with you the details of my new coaching program, Freely. And I'm going to explain to you how Freely works, how we actually get results for you, what's the process, how do you apply if you're interested, what are the deadlines, etc. So, my coaching program is called Freely. Why did I name it Freely? Well, because I want you to experience freedom around food again. I want you to have freedom from anxiety around food. I want you to have freedom from guilt around food. I want you to have freedom to experience joy with your eating. I want you to feel free in your body, no matter what the number on the scale says, no matter what shape or size you're currently at. I want you to experience that freedom. And what we do in this program is really teach you how to eat all foods. Notice I said all foods without anxiety or without guilt. That means really taking off your food rules, starting to give yourself unconditional permission to eat and heal your relationship with food. We're also going to work on helping you end food obsession. So ending that constantly thinking about food, worrying about what's in the food you're eating, going to a restaurant and worrying about what's in there or not, worrying about going on traveling or going to someone's house for dinner. We're going to help you actually stop obsessing over food. We're going to help you stop yo-yo dieting once and for all. This is a permanent change where you will make a commitment to yourself in the program that you are no longer going to diet anymore in your life again. And that might feel a little scary to actually say to yourself, like, I am not going to diet ever again in my life. But that is one of the outcomes of the program, that you will be done with dieting and you will be able to take your life back from the yo-yo dieting cycle. Also, just to remind you what dieting is, because I just got a message from someone this morning who was like, I eat really healthy. I'm a super healthy eater, but I don't consider it a diet. I'm here to tell you that dieting is any modification to your eating and or your exercise that's designed to shrink your body. If you're changing the amount you're eating, if you're changing the types of food that you're eating, if you're changing the time of day you're eating, if you're fasting, if you're doing keto, if you're just eating whole unprocessed foods, if you're moving your body extra or just like doing workouts and it's designed to shrink your body, it is a form of dieting. So we have to be super clear with ourselves because a lot of us don't realize that we are engaged in dieting behaviors and we don't realize that we're engaged in dieting mentality. Okay, so those are the core promises of the program. Obviously, there's other things that will happen. There's like a lot of amazing things that will happen, including improving your body dissatisfaction, improving your body image, learning to accept your body, learning what your body's natural set point is, improving modeling healthy behaviors for your children or your family, etc., etc. How we do this. You are going to master the 10 principles of intuitive eating. If you've thought you've done intuitive eating and it didn't work for you, or you've heard a little bit about it, but you don't really understand it, if you think it's just eating whatever you want, whenever you want, I'm here to tell you that it is an actual methodology. It has research and evidence to support it. It was created by 2 dietitians. I'm actually in their certification program as we speak to just enhance the knowledge that I already have as a nutritionist and as a nurse to coach you. But it is a very powerful system. It is not just eating whatever you want, whenever you want it. It's so much deeper. There's a lot of deep healing work that you need to do that we will do together. That's why my program is 6 months long. This isn't a quick fix. It actually takes work to dig in and do this healing work. It's a lot of inner work. Like There's no meal plans, all right? There's no like fitness plan. There's no like eat this and don't eat this list. There's no shopping lists. You don't need any of that. You need to reclaim your inner intuitive eater, and you do that by doing a lot of healing work. That said, there is nutrition knowledge that I will teach you in the program, because gentle nutrition knowledge is pillar 10 of intuitive eating, and it's very helpful to bring in nutrition knowledge in improving muscle growth, in how we feel, stabilizing blood sugar, energy, all of those things. But notice how it's principle 10. It's the last principle, and it's designed to be that way. The most important thing is that you do the inner healing work that repairs your body dissatisfaction, that repairs your relationship with food, and that restores you to integrity with your body. Why I created this is because I was a nurse for 6.5 years. I was a weight loss coach for 5 years. And while I absolutely loved helping women, all I wanted to do was empower women with nutrition knowledge to help them with their bodies. What started to happen is pretty much just everyone wanted to lose weight who came to me. And what started to happen is that after a year, 2 years, 3 years later, those people would return to me either having regained weight and needing my program again, or they would have like a disordered eating pattern. And I've even heard from people who've developed eating disorders. And unfortunately, this is a not talked about side effect of dieting. One of the biggest risk factors for developing an eating disorder, clinical eating disorder, is a history of dieting. Now, no one really talks about it. Fitness coaches don't put it as a warning. They're not like, hey, warning, side effect, if you do my program, you might develop an eating disorder, because, that's not something that, one, they may know about, especially if they're newer to the practice of nutrition, and two, they may not want to share that, right? Like, not great for business. And so that's really why I changed my philosophy, is because I started to see the negative side effects of dieting. If I had known those things at the beginning, then I probably wouldn't have gone down the path of teaching dieting methods. And I'm just going to be like really honest with y'all. I hope that's okay, but I want to be really transparent with you all. I, developed so much knowledge and experience after 5 years of working as a weight loss coach, and it helped me reassess my methods and actually learn, okay, what actually is the best thing for women's health. And I truly believe it's intuitive eating. So I created this because I personally have also gone through my own healing journey with body and food. I worked with an intuitive eating coach. I've become an intuitive eater again. Okay, you all are already an intuitive eater. You have it in you. If you were a toddler once, you are an intuitive eater, but you have to reclaim it. You have to break off all the junk from society that's on top of it, and you have to learn how to reconnect to your inner innate wisdom that you have inside you already as an intuitive eater. And so I did this work myself and saw how valuable it was, saw how powerful it was, saw how healing it was, how fun it is. Like, I love being an intuitive eater. And it's because it trickles over into every area of my life in such a more powerful way than trying to lose weight and exercise ever did. I see these posts from people, which is very common in the fitness space, where we might say things like, once you master your body, you can master all these other things in your life. Or like me mastering my body and losing weight and getting fit helped me, build this business or get this relationship. And that is a very dangerous thing to believe or hook into. And so what I've actually found is intuitive eating, rejecting dieting, rejecting weight loss as this goal, rejecting trying to constantly shrink my body or maintain a shrunken body, rejecting all that has actually given me much more joy, given me access to results I had never produced before in my life, given me much more fulfillment in my day-to-day living, much more peace. Like, I never connected that my dieting behavior was causing my anxiety. Never. All right? I went to therapists and tried medications and tried to meditate and, got the hormone tests. Like, what could be causing my anxiety? Dieting, hello, okay? And when I gave up dieting, my anxiety has basically gone to zero, which has been amazing, okay? So who is Freely for? So Freely is for women exclusively. We love the men. And men, you can totally be an intuitive eater, and I support you in that. But my program is specifically for women. Part of this is because I want to create a very safe space for us women to come together and talk about the issues that only we experience as women in our bodies. Also, as a woman, you have a very unique hormonal blueprint that is very different than a man's, right? And so as a woman, I want to be able to nurture you and talk to you about your hormonal health and how that's affecting your appetite. You should have a history of yo-yo dieting, all right? So if you don't relate to being a dieter, then this program is probably not for you. One caveat though is you might be a dieter in disguise. So if so, then send me a message and we can talk through it. Are you actually a dieter or not? Check out some of my other content where I have videos where I explain, what actually is dieting. I basically define it in every single video that I do. But you have to have some type of history of dieting. Now, that doesn't mean you have to have been dieting since you were 15, all right? But it means that you relate to trying diets and then failing, trying, failing. And I use the word failing like loosely, however you define that, okay? You should also probably be experiencing negative body image to a degree to be part of this program. It doesn't mean you have to hate yourself and think you're the worst looking person in the world. It doesn't have to be that dramatic. But you somehow relate to having body dissatisfaction, right? You have some type of negative body image that you carry with you. That is another qualification for the program. You also need to be ready to change. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you this work is easy. It is not. Like I said, it is about inner work. It is not, here's a meal plan and a fitness plan, like go have fun. No, this is inner healing work. You may have noticed that I've shifted calling myself a nutrition coach to calling myself an intuitive eating counselor. And I truly identify more with the word counselor than coach. And I think a coach is a word that you use to describe someone who pushes you to do things that are hard, maybe that you don't want to do. They show you blind spots. And so there's things about coaching that I still relate to. But being a counselor or a therapist to me is much more my identity. I even had a client today send me a message and say, you should be a therapist in your next career, your next iteration. And I'm like, I am. Like, this is it right here, okay? Nutrition therapist. You can call me a nutrition therapist or nutrition counselor because it's really about supporting you in doing the inner healing work that you need to do to heal your relationship to body and food. Okay, you should also have some type of history of restriction and or overeating. So if you don't super relate to restriction, that's okay, but you should be having either like overeating episodes or binge episodes or a lot of restriction. Pretty much everyone who restricts in some way will end up having an overeating or binge episode. If that's not you, if you're not overeating or binge eating, but you have a history of restriction, this program is also for you. Okay? You also need to be ready to do the inner work, and you need to be ready to prioritize this healing work in your life. So between coming to our coaching call every week and doing journaling exercises, you should expect to spend, 2 to 3 hours at least a week on your healing journey, which really isn't that much. That's like watching 3 Netflix shows, right? Okay, and you should be someone who wants a permanent shift. You should be someone who has experienced like dieting rock bottom. Like you're done. You're out. You don't want to do it anymore. You're sick of it. Like you might be scared of quitting it, but you're also done. Like you feel like you're between this rock and a hard place. All right. So let's talk about what are the details of the program and what's included. So the program is 26 weeks long, 26 weeks of active coaching for you. This is because in my own experience with intuitive eating, it was not a month-long healing journey. It wasn't a 2-month healing journey. It wasn't even a 4-month healing journey. It was at least 6 months. For some people, it can take longer than that. It really depends on how long your dieting history is and how entrenched your dieting thinking is. So for somebody like me, who was actually a weight loss coach, whose dieting thinking was very entrenched, my journey has actually taken a little bit longer. But I think that's purely because I'm a more like professional person in this space, and it almost is worse for us in some ways. And I think for the normal, like everyday woman, 6 months is sufficient. If you feel like you need another 6 months of support, you can always do the program again. But 6 months is really what you need to learn and master the principles of intuitive eating and do the inner healing work, especially if you're committing to the process, committing to doing the work, committing to coming to calls. So we have weekly group calls. These are small group calls. The program will only ever have a max of 12 people in it. So this is so I can give you personalized attention, but we can also have a nice community and camaraderie. 12 is a really great group where it's small enough for you to connect with everybody, but there's enough people where we can have dialogue and experiences shared. So the group may have less than 12 at times, but it will never have more than 12 when you join. We will have unlimited support Monday through Friday in our clients only online group. This is where you can ask unlimited questions of me. You can share, struggles. You can share wins. You can get support basically on anything via chatting in our group. This is also great because you get the hive mind of the other women in the group. And I will tell you, it's so valuable to have comrades, right? That's why it's called camaraderie when you're in a group. Comrades who are on the same journey as you in addition to your coach or your guide. There will also be a client hub with resources. So, have to have a little bubbly to celebrate. There will be a client hub with resources, including replays of all of the calls. So if you can't make a call one week, the calls will be on Monday nights at 6 p.m. Central for approximately 1 hour. And you are expected to attend the calls to get the most value out of the program. If one week you can't make a call, it will be recorded. But for you to maximize your healing and growth, you should plan to come to the call every week. I put them on a Monday because most of us don't have social plans on Mondays. And so it's easy for most people to commit to a Monday. In addition, I will also be sending you 3 fabulous resources, hard copy resources. One is a book, one is a workbook, and one is a very powerful journal that I'm a huge fan of. And you will be working all of these resources throughout the 6 months. You will have guided curriculum to go through. So it won't just be like, here's a book, read it. It will be like week 1, read these sections and do these exercises. Week 2, do this. How we get results. So I call it a 5-step process. We learn, we implement, we connect, we practice, and we reflect. So the first step of the program is you just need to learn the 10 principles of intuitive eating really well. You need to go out and implement them. You need to start incorporating them into your thinking and your behavior on a day-to-day basis. You need to connect with other people who are on this journey. One of the reasons that I will only do group coaching programs now as opposed to one-to-one coaching is because I personally have found a tremendous benefit from being in group environments when I'm healing something, working on a project, trying to grow in an area of my life. It's much more powerful than having a one-to-one interaction with a coach. And there's a lot of reasons why. I have a video on that and a podcast episode. If you want to learn more about that, I can connect you to that. But it's important that you connect with other people who are going through the journey with you. One of the things that did not work for me in my intuitive eating healing journey was I was just working one-to-one with the coach and I didn't have a community. And it's important that you're able to turn to other women who are going through this and saying like, hey, I'm really struggling with this today. And someone who's a little further along in the journey can say, hey, I've been there too, and I got through it. Here's how. There's hope for you too. And so I share that because I think it's so important that we are willing to connect in groups. Dieting creates isolation. Dieting reinforces isolation. And so it's important as part of your healing journey that you actually start to get back in community virtually and also in person with people in your life. The fourth step is practicing. So yes, you've implemented these things, but let me tell you, intuitive eating is a lifelong practice and it's super fun. Just like when you learn a musical instrument, you got to practice it daily to become a master. You're going to be practicing intuitive eating for the rest of your life. It will not be a hyper-conscious process for you after a healing journey. It will become intuitive. It will just be like easy and effortless and just what you do. But because we live in a culture that's steeped in dieting messages and worships shrinking bodies and keeping bodies small, you will have to practice these principles ongoingly. And then reflect. Reflection is such an important part of our learning journeys, our healing journeys. It's essential that you take time to reflect through sharing what you're learning vocally in a group, also reflecting privately. So it's really a coaching counseling combo. I definitely still will be coaching you, but I will also be counseling you. We will be doing much deeper inner healing work together in the program. So let's talk about the timeline for the program. So the initial group of people who are doing freely, we're going to start July 25th. All right, like I said, I will only ever have a maximum of 12 people in the program at a time, so I can give you personalized attention and we still have a group connection and community. Applications will close July 20th, so that is a few weeks away to have time for you to apply. Once you apply, you will also do a 20-minute video assessment that I'll send you where you will assess yourself on the outcomes of the program. This way, you get super clear if this program will actually help you achieve things in areas where you're deficient. If you aren't deficient in any of the areas that we are going to coach you in, it doesn't make sense to do the program. So this assessment helps clarify for both you and I if this program will actually be beneficial to you, because I only want you to do something that will actually create a lot of value and change for you in your life. So the next step is you would fill out the application. The link is in my bio on my Instagram. You can also message me for the link, or you can go to my website, but the easiest place to find it is just go to my Instagram bio, click there, fill out the application. This will help you start to learn a little bit more about the program, and it'll help me learn about you and what you're struggling with. Then you will get sent an email where you will watch the assessment and score yourself. And then once you do that, we'll chat more. You and I will have a conversation. But you have to start with doing the application and doing an assessment before we will chat more if the program's the right fit for you. You can, of course, message me here on Instagram and we can chat to talk more if it is the right fit for you before you start with the application. Feel free to do that. So like I said, we start July 25th. This is for women only. It's for women who want to learn how to eat all foods without guilt or anxiety, who want to stop overeating and binge eating episodes, who want to take their life back from yo-yo dieting, and who really want to master the 10 principles of intuitive eating and have that be how you eat for the rest of your life without focusing on the scale, without ever returning to dieting, to just be healed in your relationship to your body and mind. So if this sounds like something that is aligned for you, if you want these outcomes in your life, go ahead and click the link in my Instagram bio to apply today. Like I said, spots are limited. I'm only going to be working with a small number of people at a time. And I really look forward to doing this inner work with you. I really look forward to being your coach and counselor as you heal your relationship to body and food. It's an amazing journey. I'm very excited to share it with you, and I will talk to you soon.